All right. Get ready to unlock some seriously cool knowledge.
Yep.
You guys have sent us some fascinating stuff about the elements.
Yeah.
Not just like the science-y kind, but how they tie into magic and all that mystical stuff.
Right.
We've got excerpts from Franz Barton's Initiation into Hermetics.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
And let me tell you, this book is packed with insights. It's like a crash course in understanding how fire, water, air, and earth have been seen throughout history. Not just as, like, physical things, but as these powerful forces that shape our world.
And ourselves. Yeah, Barton's book is amazing. He basically takes the idea of elements and flips it on its head. It goes way beyond the periodic table.
So we're not just talking about hydrogen and oxygen here.
No, not just those. He dives deep into hermetics, He sees these elements as, like, fundamental energies, and they impact everything from the natural world to, like, our own feelings.
Okay, so instead of just chemicals, we're talking about forces that shape reality. That's a big leap from high school chemistry.
Definitely. And get this, it's not just theory. Barton's book is a practical guide. He teaches you how to work with these elemental energies for, like, personal growth and all that spiritual stuff.
So it's like unlocking a hidden operating system.
Exactly. A hidden operating system that runs beneath the surface of everything.
Okay, I'm hooked.
Yeah.
So how does this elemental operating system actually work? Break it down for me.
Well, each element has its own unique qualities. Like, take fire, for example.
Yeah, fire.
It's all about willpower, transformation, that kind of thing. That driving force that helps us conquer challenges and reach our goals.
So if someone's feeling stuck or unmotivated, maybe they need a little more fire in their life.
That's a great way to put it. And it's not just willpower either. Barton suggests fire is also linked to courage, facing your fears head on. It's that spark that ignites our passions, pushes us out of our comfort zones.
Wow, this goes way beyond just the physical properties of fire. What about the other elements? What kind of energies are they packing?
Okay, so water.
Water.
It's all about emotions, intuition, the subconscious mind. It's associated with fluidity, adaptability, going with the flow, that sort of thing.
So someone who's really in touch with their feelings, has a strong gut instinct, might have a strong connection to water.
Exactly. And then there's air, the element of intellect, communication, clear thinking.
The thinkers.
Exactly. It's about seeing the big picture, connecting the dots, expressing yourself well.
So writers, speakers, anyone who loves to learn, that's air.
Precisely. And lastly, we have earth.
Okay.
Earth is all about practicality, stability, and manifestation. It's grounded, reliable, and super connected to the physical world.
So the organizers, the builders, the people who get things done, that's Earth.
You got it. And here's where it gets really interesting. Barton says these elements aren't just out there in the world, they also exist within us.
Wait, so I have a mini version of all these elements inside me.
Yeah, it shapes our personalities, even our physical bodies. Barton calls this the human microcosm.
Okay, this microcosm idea, this interconnectedness between us and the elements. It's a recurring theme here. But how do we actually figure out our own elemental balance? Is there like a test or something?
Haha, no BuzzFeed quiz, unfortunately. But Barton does provide some insights. He noticed that people often exhibit traits associated with one or two dominant elements.
Okay, that makes sense.
So, for example, someone who's super quick-tempered and ambitious, they might have a lot of fire energy, whereas someone more introspective and intuitive might be leaning more towards water.
So by paying attention to our personality traits, tendencies, maybe even physical characteristics, we can start to see which elements are strongest.
That's a great starting point. It's all about self-awareness and observation. Barton provides a framework, but ultimately, figuring out your own elemental makeup is a personal journey.
This reminds me of those personality tests that tell you if you're a lion or a beaver. But instead of animals, we're talking about forces of nature.
Right.
And it's not just about labeling ourselves. Barton says we can actually work with these energies.
Right. Absolutely. That's where things get really exciting.
Okay, tell me more.
His book isn't just about understanding the elements. It's about learning to harness them for personal growth and transformation.
So we're not just observing, we're actively engaging. How does that work?
Well, Barton introduces this concept called condensers. They're tools for storing and amplifying elemental energies. Think of them like vessels designed to capture and focus these subtle forces.
Condensers. That sounds kind of sci-fi. What do they look like?
Haha, not quite. Barton's approach is more grounded in nature. He describes different types: solid, liquid, and airy.
Okay, break it down for me. What are some examples?
Well, a solid condenser could be something like a specially crafted amulet, made from specific metals. The metal acts as a container, focusing and amplifying the desired energy. Like gold might be used to attract and enhance solar energy, which is associated with fire.
So it's about using the properties of materials to work with these subtle energies.
Huh.
Cool. What about liquid condensers?
Think potions, elixirs, even specially prepared teas.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. Barden provides instructions on how to create these liquid condensers using herbs, minerals, all natural ingredients, each one carefully chosen for its elemental correspondences.
So like a calming chamomile tea could be considered a water condenser.
Exactly, you're catching on quick. And then there are airy condensers. It's about creating a charged atmosphere.
Yeah.
You can use incense, essential oils, even specific sounds and vibrations.
So we're surrounded by potential elemental condensers all the time.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of recognizing them and using them intentionally. This is blowing my mind.
We've only just scratched the surface. Barden goes into incredible detail about how to create and use these condensers for all sorts of purposes, enhancing meditation, promoting healing, even achieving specific magical goals. But before we get too deep into that, we got to talk about something crucial: responsibility.
Right, because we're talking about powerful forces here.
Exactly. Barden emphasizes that true magic isn't about manipulating others or personal gain.
It's not about getting what you want.
No, it's about aligning with divine will, using these energies for good, and always respecting the balance of the natural world.
So, with great elemental power comes great elemental responsibility.
You could say that. It's about approaching this work with humility, awareness, and a genuine desire for self-improvement and positive transformation. It's so cool how Barden emphasizes that using these energies ethically goes hand in hand with understanding how they work within us.
So it's not just about harnessing the elements out there, it's about mastering the elements within ourselves.
Precisely. He says our personal elemental makeup influences how we see and interact with the world. Like someone with a lot of fire energy, they might be drawn to leadership roles or creative stuff, while someone with strong water influence might be more empathetic and drawn to like healing professions.
That makes sense. So our internal elemental balance is like a filter, shaping our experiences and how we express ourselves.
Yeah, like a filter. But what if someone's elemental energies are out of whack?
Good question. Again, that causes problems.
Definitely. Barden believed that imbalances can show up as physical or emotional issues.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, like too much fire energy might lead to anger issues, impulsive behavior, while not enough water could manifest as emotional detachment or difficulty connecting with others.
So it's not just about knowing our dominant elements, it's also about recognizing where we might have excesses or deficiencies, finding that elemental equilibrium.
Exactly. And Barden gives us a bunch of techniques for working with these energies, for strengthening or harmonizing them as needed.
Okay, give me some examples. How do we balance these elements within ourselves? What does Barden suggest?
Well, he's big on breath work. Believe that our breath is a powerful tool for regulating and directing elemental energy. He describes specific breathing exercises for like absorbing and circulating each of the elements.
So like if I'm feeling all anxious and scattered, I could do a specific breathing exercise to ground myself and bring in more earth energy.
Exactly. Or if you're feeling kind of sluggish, unmotivated, a fire-enhancing breathing exercise could help boost your energy levels, your willpower.
Wait. So we can use our breath to consciously shift our elemental balance? That's wild.
Yeah.
But it's got to be more than just breathing, right? What other techniques does Barden recommend?
Visualization is another big one. Barden stresses creating clear mental images, seeing yourself interacting with and absorbing the energy you want.
So it's like mental rehearsal for working with these energies. We create a vivid picture, and that helps us connect with them more effectively.
Exactly. And Barden takes it even further. He says use specific colors, symbols, even sounds to make these visualizations even stronger. Like picture yourself surrounded by a warm, glowing orange light while you're doing a fire-breathing exercise.
This is reminding me of those guided meditation apps. But instead of just relaxing, we're actively engaging with these elemental energies, directing them for specific purposes.
That's a great analogy. Barden's approach is way more than just relaxation. It's about conscious transformation. He believes that by doing these techniques consistently, we can gradually shift our elemental balance, fix imbalances, and ultimately feel better overall.
Okay, it's all coming together now. Understanding our elemental makeup, using condensers to amplify these energies, and then using techniques like breathwork and visualization to consciously direct them for personal growth. It's like we're our own alchemists.
That's a great way to put it. But we haven't even gotten to one of the coolest parts of Barden's work. The realm of elementals and other beings.
Ooh, yeah. You mentioned elementals earlier. I'm ready to dive into that. Remind me, who or what are elementals?
So in Barden's system, elementals are like these conscious beings that are associated with each element.
Okay.
They're like the living embodiment of those elemental forces. He talks about salamanders for fire, sylphs for air, undines for water, and gnomes for earth.
Okay, so not those little garden gnome statues. We're talking about actual beings made of fire, water, air.
It definitely stretches our understanding of reality. Barden explains that they exist on a different plane, a subtle realm that overlaps with our own.
So they're operating on a frequency we can't normally perceive.
Precisely. But Barden says that with specific training, we can learn to sense and interact with them.
Hold on. Are you saying we can communicate with elementals?
It's hard to explain, but Barden describes it as a kind of telepathic communication. You sense their presence, their intentions. He even teaches you techniques for creating these magical things called elementals to do specific tasks.
Whoa, creating beings out of elemental energy. That sounds straight out of a fantasy novel.
I know, right? But Barden breaks it down in a very practical way, explains how to do it using visualization, willpower, and certain rituals.
This is all fascinating, but also a bit intimidating. Elementals, magical constructs, it all sounds pretty advanced. Where would someone even start?
That's a good point. Barden always said not to rush into this stuff. It needs a solid foundation. Self-knowledge, ethical awareness, and a commitment to personal growth. Start with the basics, understanding the elements, working with condensers, developing your ability to sense and direct energy. The breath work, the visualization.
Master the fundamentals before you try to run a marathon.
Exactly. Respect the power of these forces. Approach them with preparation and the right mindset.
Okay, that makes me feel a bit more grounded. Still curious about the specifics of working with elementals, though. Like, what can these magical constructs actually do? And how do we make sure they don't, go rogue?
Those are great questions, and ones that Barden answers thoroughly. We'll definitely get into that, the practical aspects of working with elementals, and the ethical stuff, too, as we continue our deep dive.
I can't wait. But before we get lost in the world of elementals and magical constructs, what about those other beings Barden mentions? He talks about larvae, schemata, and phantoms, right?
Yes. Barden's work covers a whole bunch of subtle entities and energies, each with their own unique characteristics and influences. Understanding these things can give us deeper insight into the unseen forces that shape our lives.
Okay, I'm ready for more mind-bending concepts. Let's start with larvae. What are they?
Barden says larvae are like thought forms, and they feed on negative emotions. Fear, anger, resentment.
So they're kind of like energetic parasites.
Yeah.
Thriving on our negativity. That's creepy.
Yeah, not the nicest image, is it?
Yeah.
But Barden's point is that if we dwell on negative thoughts, we're not only harming ourselves, but we're also attracting and strengthening these icky entities.
So we're creating our own energetic monsters by indulging in negativity.
Exactly. Barden stresses that mental and emotional discipline is key here to maintain a healthy energy environment and prevent these negative things from taking hold.
Okay, larvae check. What about schemata? That sounds less scary.
Schemata are a bit more complex. Barden describes them as semi-conscious mental images that we can use to shape and direct energy, like mental blueprints that we put our intention into.
So instead of attracting negativity like larvae, we're consciously creating positive thought forms with a purpose.
Exactly. Barden says we can create schemata for healing, protection, or even to manifest things.
So if I'm sick, I could create a healing schemata and visualize it, sending healing energy.
You got it. Harnessing the power of our minds.
Okay, schemata. Fascinating. Now for the last one. Phantoms. What are those all about?
Barden describes phantoms as like lingering remnants of people who have died.
So ghosts. Spirits.
It's not quite that straightforward. Barden says phantoms aren't necessarily conscious, more like energetic imprints left behind on the astral plane.
So like echoes of a person's energy.
Yeah. And most phantoms are harmless, but Barden says some can get attached to places or objects, and they can influence the energy there.
Okay, that's getting spooky again. Can we communicate with these phantoms?
Barden says it's possible to sense them, especially if you're sensitive to energies, but he advises against trying to talk to them unless you really know what you're doing.
Right, don't mess with the spirit world unless you're prepared. But this whole phantom thing raises a question. could we use those magical condensers to, say, detect or interact with phantoms?
Interesting. That's something we can definitely look into as we keep going. Barden's work is full of these connections. It's awesome to see how it all comes together.
I'm already seeing the world differently. This has been a wild ride. Can't wait to see what other mysteries we uncover. Okay, my brain is still trying to wrap itself around all this talk about elementals, larvae, schemata, and phantoms. It's like we've discovered a secret world right under our noses.
It's definitely a whole new way of seeing things, but Barden makes it so practical, so down to earth, you know?
Yeah.
It feels like, well, less like fantasy and more like we're just expanding our understanding of how reality actually works.
Right, exactly. That's what's so cool about his work. It's this bridge between, like, science and spirituality. He gives us a way to understand how these subtle energies work and how we can use them consciously.
That's it, exactly.
Yeah.
And one of the tools Barden talks about for working with these energies is the magic mirror.
Ah, yes. The magic mirror. We touched on that earlier, but I want to go deeper. What is it, and how does it actually work?
So picture this, a mirror. But not just any mirror. It's specially made and consecrated, for magical purposes. Barden has all these instructions on how to create them using special materials and techniques.
So I can't just grab one from the store.
Nope. Creating a magic mirror is a whole ritual. You got to put your intention into it. Barden suggests things like polished metal or crystal, stuff that's good at reflecting and amplifying subtle energies.
Okay, so I've got my super special magic mirror. What do I actually deal with it? Is it like seeing the future? Like a crystal ball?
Not exactly future telling, but it can be used for divination. Barden says it's like a portal.
A portal.
Yeah, a focal point, to connect with different realms and to get information that we normally can't see with our physical senses.
Whoa, so it's a window to the unseen world. Can you communicate with spirits through it? Travel to other dimensions?
Barden does talk about those possibilities, but he's clear that it's advanced stuff, needs a lot of skill and spiritual development.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
This isn't just a fun party trick.
Right.
But for someone who's new to this, what are some practical ways they could use a magic mirror?
Well, one of the most common uses is for meditation and visualization. Gazing into the mirror helps quiet the mind, reach those deeper states of consciousness. It helps you focus your intention, connect with your inner self.
Like a visual aid for going deeper in meditation.
Yeah, exactly. And Barden says if you charge the mirror with certain elemental energies, you can use it to boost those energies within you.
Oh, right. Remind me, how do we charge a magic mirror with elemental energy?
It's similar to those condenser techniques we were talking about. Visualize, breathe, even use specific rituals to direct the energies into the mirror. So for example, if you wanted to boost your creativity and willpower, you might charge it with fire energy.
So we're basically programming the mirror with a certain energy, and then when we look into it, it influences us.
Yes. And you can use it for all sorts of things. Healing, intuition, even psychic abilities.
This is mind-blowing. Barden is giving us a peek into a whole other universe.
Yeah.
A world full of possibilities that most people don't even realize exist.
It's a total paradigm shift. But Barden doesn't make it feel overwhelming. He gives you clear steps, guides you through how to understand and work with these energies.
And he always emphasizes the importance of ethics, right? It's not just about getting power or control. It's about using this knowledge for good and aligning with something bigger than ourselves.
Exactly. True magic, for Barden, was about self-mastery, spiritual growth, and using these energies to help everyone, not just ourselves.
Such a powerful message. It's not just what we can do with this knowledge, it's who we become along the way. So for our listeners who are just discovering Barden's world of Hermetics, what's the most important thing to remember? Where should they begin?
I'd say approach this with an open mind, a sense of curiosity, and just be willing to experiment. Barden gives you the map, but the journey is yours to take. See what works for you.
It's like we've been given a treasure map, and now it's time to set sail and explore.
That's a great way to put it. It's a journey of self-discovery, transformation, and just expanding our understanding of ourselves and, the universe.
Well, I think this deep dive has definitely lived up to its name. We've gone deep into Barden's Hermetic system, exploring the elements, those amazing beings, and the practices that can connect us to a whole hidden world of magic and possibility.
It's been such an awesome journey, and remember, this is just the beginning. Barden's work has so much more to offer, so much to unpack.
So to everyone listening, keep exploring. Read Barden, experiment, and most importantly, start your own journey of discovery. Who knows what incredible things you might find?